Logo, a mythological half-woman typically called a siren. The half-fish, half-woman variety is usually known as a mermaid. According to the ancient Greeks, sirens seduced mariners with songs and promises of sex and then killed them.
Pause it real quick. Think about this, right? How do mermaids have sex? Exactly. Now I'm probably overthinking it. It's probably the same way the fish have to have sex, right? Because we're thinking about like sex as in like male and female genitalias. We gotta think about how fish would do it too. But think about it. How could mermaids promise them sex? Right. All right, go ahead.
The original cigar band Starbucks logo had a slightly altered version of the 15th century twin-tailed siren.
See that? How the two tails are split? That's just like that Abraxas thing. Watch. We'll do
siren, Melusine. In the legend, Melusine agreed to marry a man on the condition that she be left alone one day a week to do as she pleased in private. After some years, the man became jealous and broke into her room. There he discovered that his wife assumed the form of a mermaid. Angry that he broke his promise, Melusine transformed herself into a dragon and departed in a shrieking fury. He never saw her again. Heckler is so...
Let's not think about this too. Because the queen of Poland, they have like the same sort of story though, but the Queen of Poland story is supposed to be a Little Mermaid story. So like here we have like two different examples that we know for sure of where kings are like and seduced by these mermaids, bring them in, and now you got to ask like, do they produce any offsprings from them? And then what if they are? Is this why like there's SLC24A5 fish DNA in in these people? See what I'm saying? I just, was just thinking about it because, like, I was just thinking about, like, when you do the history of Poland, they got that same thing where this king falls in love with this, siren, marries her, she becomes a queen, and she's, like, ruling with him. But then, like, you read about her, and she's supposed to be the Little Mermaid story passed on. Like, she's the actual Little Mermaid, And I just thought that was interesting that it would take place in Poland, like, they make, in the middle, like, for Europe there. Alright.
Associates, the design firm behind the Starbucks logo, modified the logo at a few points in the company's history. The first time was when they were designing the first Starbucks delivery trucks. The logo was huge, and so the attention went to certain areas on the mermaid. Heckler said he was getting some flack about the mermaid looking pregnant, so he redrew her belly button to appear as a question mark. It remained that way for a year or two. Heckler also redrew her hairstyle to cover up her breasts. As Starbucks expanded across the country, the number of letters from women complaining about the siren's risque pose grew, and so he made further changes. Then came the more familiar green version of the logo. The chest was hidden, but the belly button and only a hint of the tails remained. Stars were also added. In Portland, Oregon, we saw a new type of siren on the Starbucks sign. She only had one tail. Perhaps the image of a fish woman spreading her tails is on its way out. What is this powerful attraction to the mermaid that is so compelling? The mermaid claims a long and rich ancestry that dates back to a multitude of fish-tailed gods and goddesses from some of man's earliest civilizations. The sea is womb of creation and the source of wisdom has always played an important role in world.
There he is. See, they bring him up, Abraxas. I didn't think they were going to bring him up in this one.
Beliefs. The gods of the sea are among some of the most powerful in history. Their strength lives on in a host of entities, symbolic of the shifting, ever-changing, dual nature of the sea as both life-giver and destroyer. Ever since man first set to sea to deliver coffee and spices, sailors have tried to ensure safe passage by attempting to make peace with unpredictable water gods by mounting a mermaid on the ship's figurehead. Years later, the mermaid and siren images started appearing during World War II in the form of nose art on thousands of bombers and fighter escorts. Mermaids have beckoned the adventurous to the unknown and the promise of forbidden fruits. In numerous tales told of them, they would often foretell the future and give supernatural powers to human beings, or fall in love with human beings and entice their mortal lovers to follow them beneath the sea. Wells, springs, rivers, and lakes were sacred places in many cultures. Sacred waters are traditionally haunted by various female spirits, suggesting suppressed memories of a goddess. The water habitat symbolizes fertility, mystery, purification, reflection, motion, life, power, and the subconscious. In many of the mermaid and siren myths, the protagonist dissolves into the depths of the water. Behind the seductive image of the siren lurks the metaphor of death and metamorphosis. We were born of the water and have transmuted into the human form. Carl Jung suggests that supernatural forces spring from the fusion of two biologically different entities, opposites that embrace and explain practically everything. Jung believed symbols material.
Oh, it's buffing. Oh, no, it's you got that winter storm moving in, so. Let me see real quick. Can we search for the
realize on their own account in our dreams, the expression of which is beyond the dimensions of time and space.
Yeah, it's probably gonna end up keep doing that.
And in the sphere of unspecified and unlimited. These symbols possess a numinous character and impress themselves on the general consciousness, disturbing for those minds used to operation within the limit.
Let me see here. Just step on clear real quick. And it's just Abraxas there. And just no, you gotta go back, hit clear. Because I tried searching for the TV show, I can't find it. It's this one. And then just slide over. Slide. Keep sliding. There. That's the one I was talking about. There's you see the other one next to it? It's like that mermaid stuff.
Abraxas is a very peculiar and interesting mythological figure that has played an important role within many mystical, magical, and Gnostic traditions.
Oh, come on.
Early Christians and church fathers like Irenaeus, Jerome, and Epiphanius couldn't agree whether Abraxas was a god, a demon, or if he was the Gnostic conception of the Archon. Irenaeus believed him to be the ruler of the heavens and the Archon / creator of this world. Jerome and Epiphanius both agree that Abraxas was actually God. Jerome, theologian famous for the translating of the Bible into Latin,
Bro, brother Saint Jerome. Nah. In the Britain Septuagint.
Even uses phrases such as the greatest God, the Almighty God, and the Lord, the Creator, to describe Abraxas. Despite his positive reception by early Christians, Abraxas is considered by the Catholic Church a demon and is even associated with Lucifer. Abraxas is a rooster-headed god with the torso of a man, a whip in his right hand and a shield on his left, with two serpents for legs. The rooster is symbolic of wakeful vigilance and the announcer of the new dawn. The whip is for his 4 horses that are symbolic of the 4 elements and 4 seasons.
And like I said, you think about it too, because
the shield is a militaristic symbol of protection, and the 2 serpents are symbols of whip.
Pause it real quick. I was going to say, think about it too, because like I said, when Jesus tells
immortality and the feminine.
When
Abraxas comes from the Greek abrake.
Because Jesus tells Peter, you know, because Peter...
and the word abracadabra is believed to have come from it.
Because Peter tells Jesus that he was going to stay with him, and, you know, and he would never betray him like Judas. And now we know that Judas was actually, you know, from the, was it Dead Sea Scrolls and stuff, that Judas is the other way around. But, oh, man, Peter tells him, you know, I won't betray you. And he says, you know, I tell you, Jesus tells him, before the rooster crows 3 times, you know, say you will betray me. And then, like, the whole fact that the rooster is, like, up when the sun comes, before the sun comes up to let you know it's rising. And then, what's it, like, the Venus is supposed to be, you know, Lucifer's planet or something like, you know, like when you look up Lucifer, he's supposed to be the bright and morning star. And then Venus is the bright and morning star, you know. That's interesting. That's all I figured.